Hey, so thanks guys for being on this panel. It's really amazing to see 500 startups out here again, and having these great alumni now. So you're batch what?
Officially, we are batch 1, but the thing is we are batch 2. Yeah, because there is a batch 0.
Batch 3, right?
Oh, batch should be batch 1.
Second batch.
The second batch, yeah. Second batch, yeah, sorry. Second batch. But the name is called batch 1.
Or start at 1.
Yeah, something like
okay.
It's a nerd.
Okay,
That's cool. And then we have batch 10.
Yeah.
Right, Shopline. And maybe you guys can give a little 1 to 2 sentence intro about your startup. You first, right?
This is a good challenge. I guess it's an online community for people to share funny pictures and shared interests, something like that. We are pretty big. We have 80 million unique visitors every month. And we are also very active on social media. We got 22 million fans on Facebook, close to 9 million followers on Instagram, top 3 in the world. And also we have close to 4 million followers on Twitter. Yeah, so basically we make people happy.
Okay, great. So how about Shopline?
So we are a do-it-yourself e-commerce platform for merchants in Asia. So they don't have any, IT people to help them build their own online shops or websites, and you can use our tool to do that. And we're very localized for, logistics, payments for Asia. So if Nigeria makes people happy, we help people make money.
Okay, so now down to some experiences. I would like 500 to actually talk about your impression of these batches or these 2 startups that are out here. Maybe Dave can share some why did you actually let them into 500 startups and some funny things. Yeah, that would be great.
I do want to try to embarrass Ray. So you guys applied. First of all, I didn't accept you guys in. Somebody else accepted you in.
Christine.
Because I thought you had a shitty idea. And I was right. You guys were doing some family photo sharing bullshit.
No family, it's more like photo sharing. Yeah.
The only reason I think we let you in is because you were doing the quotable thing. What was that? The startup quotes?
Start quotes, yeah.
Yeah, you were doing startup quotes. That was kind of interesting. And then you quickly pivoted to some other bullshit, which was karaoke.
Karaoke, yeah.
I thought that was. I thought this was an interesting idea, and I still think there's a big market for subtitling karaoke, and basically English language education through karaoke on YouTube. Don't laugh, it's a big fucking opportunity. It's a huge market. But you guys had some scalability challenges with producing that content, and by the way, they're in, and we're like, oh, what else do you guys do? Oh, we have this other project on the side that's got 10 million users. We're like, what the fuck? What? And so I don't think I've actually told this story. We didn't own anything of that company. And we had to work out a subsequent transaction, which I would say Ray was kind enough to let us in on his deal, because he totally could have fucked us completely. But he came in on one shitty idea, pivoted to another crappy idea, and then realized he had something in his back pocket that was worth really big money, which we didn't own anything of. And he was kind enough to let us in on that deal later, but interesting story. And Ray probably gave the best pitch of all time at 500 Startups with, what the fuck was that called again? Singboard.
Singboard, yeah.
Yeah, he had some exploding fireball on something.
We have Darth Vader, and then we also have a video that Dave's singing, or something like that.
Oh yeah, right, I was doing some Bieber bullshit.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was an interesting journey. Thanks, Ray.
Yeah.
That's really funny. So how about Shopline?
Okay, so yeah, I keep on having to explain also that batches 3 or 2 or whatever batch you're a part of, it's become very different for our accelerator as we advanced. And first of all, I think their batch was only 10 companies?
No, close to 20.
Close to 20, okay. Close to 20. But now we have 2 locations, so Mountain View and San Francisco. You guys were in Mountain View. And these guys were in San Francisco, the second San Francisco batch, where we accept 30 companies a batch. And approximately half actually are from outside of the US. I think for your batch was what, maybe 40%?
Still close to half, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So for, and I think this current batch, actually, we have like 60% that are from outside of the US. When I met Shopline, actually, it was a referral from one of our LPs, a family office, and he was like, I met this company, I thought they were interesting, too early for us to do direct investments in, maybe you can take a look. So anyways, I met these guys and I thought they had like a cool business. They were very smart, very scrappy, had not raised any funding whatsoever, I think, were paying themselves nothing, right? And then it was interesting because I saw the growth in their business. They had been working on something for like a year that didn't work, right? And then they pivoted to something else like shortly before I met them, and I was like, oh, like this idea makes a lot of sense. Like, I think there is a problem that you're solving that's very valuable, and it's sort of supported by the growth you're already seeing, although it's very early. I think when I met them, they had like 1,000 users or something, and now they're well over 10,000. And this was only 6 months ago. So I was a little bit conflicted. I was like, you guys are quite early, but you know, I thought that it would be really awesome to have some startups from Hong Kong, which we haven't had for a while. And there was like a clear transactional model here. They had some starting paying users. So I think that's one thing we want to emphasize too. Like for us, we really are very heavily focused on transactional models. So you don't have to have like a lot of users, paying users. They didn't, but they showed that there was some users willing to pay for their service, which was interesting. And then their general user base was growing very quickly. So and I also thought that, you know, one of the great things about the Shopline team was that they learned very quickly. So they, you know, even before we talked about investing, they were very curious as to like, oh, what can we do to get more investment? What are some of the things, you know, best practices that you could share? And then, so I think I told them like, oh, you should at least like have investor newsletters or friends and family sort of like newsletters so people know what you're doing, because you could eventually maybe convert some non-believers into investors. And then they started doing that. I hope that converted some people into investors. Okay, yeah, because they were like, how do I build credibility with the investor ecosystem here, especially investors here who are not as experienced, don't really necessarily have a thesis when they first see a business and aren't quite sure, you know, whether or not to jump in. So anyways, that's the story of Shopline.
Yeah, actually that newsletter, I got into, and I was really impressed by the detail that they go into. And it's really amazing. I think all startups should really, you know, build better connections with your potential advisors and investors, and like really like on a regular basis. They actually do it very, very regularly. Like I think on a monthly basis, if not more regular, of these investor updates. I think it's really super important. It really builds rapport, and also you also get free feedbacks, you know, from the investor advisor. So that's something that I think, you know, most startups should look to. Okay, so the next thing is like from the startups on 500. So perhaps you can share, you know, with others about your experience there. Maybe like some funny things that you have encountered, or like you know, for Ray, like you guys like pivoted maybe once or twice while you were in 500. You know, maybe you could share about that too.
I think 500 starts is kind of useless. If you don't actively seek help inside the accelerator, because basically it's more like they have a big mentors network, they have a good alumni network, but and they have partners staying at the headquarters. But the thing is, if you don't actively seek them out, and then you just, it's kind of like they are a good school, but if you go to a good school and then you just don't go to school at all, then you can't learn anything. Yeah, so I think it's totally depends on how active the team and also the staffs they do. And then one thing, for example, I think that the biggest help from 500 staffs is not exactly from Dave or from other partners. Basically, it's from the alumni or the batchmates inside the same batch. For example, take us as an example. We got, I think, a few introductions from Dave when we wanted to raise funding. At that time, we got intro to James Han, the founder of Hot or Not, and then to Navo, AngelList founder. And then right now they are our investors. But basically, we got the most introductions from our batchmates who also raised funding during the batch. They are more ahead than us when we were at the same accelerator, because we pivoted back to 9gag after the accelerator, so that they raise funding and then they build a team and they are happily spending investors' money. But we still have to figure out how we should do with 9gag. But then after we figure that out, then we ping them for help, and then they just make warm introduction, and those introductions are very helpful. So I think those are the things that most people misunderstand. Hey, you should talk to Dave. Of course, he's there from time to time, usually. At the weekend, 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., then he's sleeping on the red couch on 500 Startups. But you can't really see him during the program that much. So most people misunderstand this thing. So I want to address that. Yeah.
So it's quite what Ray says is quite true. Most of the things, like you can get the most out of the 500 if you are pretty active in the community. There is a pay it forward culture in there, that if you help someone in the community, they'll help you back someday. And that's something that we got the most out of. Fiona visited Taiwan. There was a huge alumni network there that were able to connect us with the people in there. So it's easier that way than just getting to the country and not knowing anyone. We met with a lot of people in there, like a lot of health companies. One of the companies was doing some video ad platform, and we were able to connect with them, and we actually closed a partnership with them, and that will be able to increase conversion of our platform. So that's something very helpful, because the companies in 500 Startups, all the companies that accepted they're awesome, right? So that's something that you can like leverage on that.
I want to talk a little bit about how Dave mentioned before how important customer acquisition is, and for startups, I think that is the most. I agree that it's the most like challenging and important thing for the business to scale, right? So. Before joining 500 Startups, in the beginning, to be very honest, our team was a little bit worried, because we're like, oh, we're going to go to San Francisco for 4 months. It's an amazing accelerator program, but we didn't know whether we wanted to be away from our target market for 4 months. And we were kind of iffy about it, but we're like, this is a big opportunity. It's going to help us with our fundraising. We're going to learn things. So let's go. So we went. And I think the biggest takeaway for myself is that I learned a lot about distribution strategy and customer acquisition. We acquired users using Facebook from very early on. I just winged it, to be honest. I don't have a digital marketing background, so we just did a lot of experiments. But being in 500, you interact with so many other companies that are going through the same thing. We learned how to do these UTM things. We learned how to do Facebook advertising. We figure out what is a good customer acquisition cost. Are there tools that we can use to do life cycle emails, things like this. I think it reduced the learning curve a lot, compared to me just like trying to figure it out on my own. So I think that the network plus the focus of 500 Startups on distribution really helped us, especially in early stage. So we went from 10 paying customers when we first joined, and now we have over 400. And so the numbers are not like huge, but then I think that a lot of the growth came from the distribution tactics that we learned at 500.
I think as an alumni, I shouldn't just keep a hard selling how good 500 Startups is, because the thing is they're just normal people. Yeah, and I think they drink too much. And I think they play harder than they work. Yeah.
They have in our batch. They have like a corner of like a table with a lot of vodka and
Same, yeah. Because I think for Americans, because a large number of our batchmates are American companies. Basically, they always say that work hard and play hard, but you know that Americans, they always play harder. Yeah. And then, but I think the good thing about being a part of the accelerator is, there are different guys, and then some of them are Asians. Maybe they are Americans, but they are from the Asian ethnics. those are the guys that work their ass off. Yeah. I think these are the things that, because I think it's true in the sense that because you are flying from Hong Kong or flying from Taiwan or Philippines and then you work there for 4 months. To you, it's like a dead or alive, right? For Americans, hey, if I can't make it work, then I go back to work for Google. Yeah. So it's kind of different mentality. So that you can see most companies that doesn't fuck up that much are companies that come from international instead of the local companies. Yeah. I think that's from our observation.
Yeah. Much hungrier.
So that is true, Dave, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were there every single day.
Yeah, we were there like every single day, even on Saturdays and Sundays, and like we stayed there until like 11 or 12.
But that's also because you guys have no life. So.
Yeah, we had no friends.
11 to 12 is indeed very early for us. We stay till 3 or to 4 a.m. Yeah, and the best thing is there are mentors who will stay with you during that time.
Do you guys actually have a place to stay? Because I think you just stayed.
No, we bought a rice cooker from Hong Kong. I think that rice cooker is still at the Founders Staff headquarters in Mountain. Yeah, and then those
If
mentors.
this 9-gag thing ever doesn't work out, stand-up comedy. You might
I just want to say I heard stories about the NIGAG team, how like 3 of you like lived in some motel or something.
Oh, yeah.
A mile away from the office, so they spent like no
Tim's
money
apartment,
whatsoever.
It was Tim's apartment.
Something like that.
At that time, we have already got some revenue, but we are very cheap ass. Yeah. And we always thought that before you really make a good product, you should spend less. You should spend more time on your product, but you shouldn't spend too much money on your team or salary stuff. So then we rented a motel for 4 months, $50 a night, and then there are two beds. I slept with my brother for 4 months. And then another co-founder of our team, he came to visit us. At the time, he was working at Goldman Sachs, and then he came to visit us. Then he slept with another co-founder for 2 weeks. Yeah. So and then we always, because there is some lunch gathering at Founders Staff, we always eat as many as we can. So I think that's a good thing that you feel that hey, you won't starve when you are there. That's why we stay there till very late. Yeah.
I just want to say that for the Shopline team, I don't know if you guys got your reimbursements yet. Okay. But technically, if you're selected by Cyberport as an incubatee and you get into our accelerator, there is like a pretty large portion of expenses that you can get reimbursed, living expenses and
We never apply to Cyberport or Science Park probably because our product is not that helpful somehow. But anyway, I think it doesn't matter.
No, we actually were very lucky to get the reimbursements from Cyberport. So we're able to claim the housing. We actually rented a house from Airbnb, and that we're able to house like 5 of our team in there. There was 4 rooms plus a living room. One of our team had
Okay,
to.
stop making it sound really extravagant. no, as our engineer, he slept in the living room with no curtains, no door.
There's no. I think you can't compare to us because the worst thing is not the motel. Yeah. The worst thing is 1 week we forgot to renew the motel, and then there are I think 1 to 2 nights that we really slept at our Founders Staff, and then we find another house on Airbnb, but it's just 1 big bedroom with 1 big round bed. Suppose it's for couple. But then 3 guys, we slept on the same bed for close to a week. So that when you wake up at night and then you touch another guy's, I think it's too sexy to mention that.
I saw pictures of this.
It's really true, it's not joking. Yeah, it's really, it's the truth, yeah. Where are we?
I'm lost for words.
So I think most people think that hey, it's like a very good stepping stone when you just join an accelerator. But the thing is, you really, you still have to work really hard. And then when you get a chance to go to, for example, 500 stops, I think the key is how much you work your ass off to get as many resources as you can from the partners, from the batchmates, or also from the mentors. Yeah. So it's not really a thing that can turn your staff from crappy to very successful. It's more like they give you more support and resources, so that it's better than you just do it at your home. Yeah.
I remember the first week we joined, the first batch meeting we had, they mentioned that it's like a buffet. So if you don't eat anything, then maybe you'll die. But like if you eat everything, you're still gonna die. So you can't, there's a lot of resources, right? But you have to be very selective. Know what you have an objective. Don't just go into a meeting, or it actually applies to any mentors or any investors you're talking to. You go into a meeting knowing what you're trying to, what's your objective, because time is money, right? You're just not there just to chit chat. And we do see some batchmates just going signing up for every single mentor office hours and just do it every day. It's going to be meetings, and you're going to be very distracted.
They occupy the time, yeah.
Or people who just like hide and don't talk to anyone. So like, and then suddenly when they do come up to you and ask for something, you're like, I don't even know who you are. So I think that you have to be very smart about how you utilize the resources. So think of it really as a buffet. Just don't eat everything, but don't eat nothing.
And somehow another so-called takeaway is don't just always play with your batchmates. Yeah. For example, in our batch, they are a team. They were team foil guys. Yeah. They work on. They are like a boyfriend and girlfriend. Basically, all through the accelerators, they didn't work on anything. They just keep talking to mentors and then fuck around. Yeah. But then after the demo day, they raised 2 million or so 1 million because those guys, they are really good and then they work hard at the time that you don't know. So just don't really just fool with them when you see that they fool around. Yeah, because probably they work their ass off when you don't see them. Yeah, that's another takeaway. Yeah.
Those guys were good at fundraising.
Yeah, they're very good at that. Yeah.
I'm curious for you guys, what have you found the most helpful resources in Hong Kong as a startup after, I mean, either as far as kind of the 500 or just being a startup in Hong Kong? A lot of people ask what resources are here. I'm curious what's worked for you guys.
StartUpsHK. Yeah. I think in recent years things have been improving a lot. Yeah. So these kind of events in the past probably there won't be a good venue for that. For example, right now Swire, KPMG, they also try to help the startups. I think there are tons of resources right now. Yeah. I think what Hong Kong lacks the most is it's not exactly about money, but more about the. I think the biggest problem is Hong Kong is too convenient, and most students and most entrepreneurs, they don't really have any hard problem to solve in Hong Kong. Yeah. For example, I'm born and raised in Hong Kong, and then when I go to law school, and then I don't really have to solve any hard problem in life. Yeah. Yeah. So. Right now it's better because StartUpHK and they talk about more startup stuff, how to raise funding, leading startup, all kind of bullshit. Yeah, so I think it helps a lot, and more people are willing to join accelerators, go outside to understand how big the world is. Yeah.
There's actually a lot of resources that we got after we came out from Founder Startups. Right in the last month of when we were in San Francisco, I was getting worried that how our team is going to get evolved in scaling. When we went to San Francisco, where the 3 founders was an intern, and then when we came out with 5, and we immediately hired 3 more people, so we were 8. And then we started looking for office space, and then Blueprint from SAR came out to us and asked us to join the accelerator. So they provide us with very good office space for very cheap rent, and that solved us a lot of problems for our team. Another resource that we got is there's another thing called W Hub. It's something like for to hire people, right? And they host their career fair in the rest of society, right? And then we're able to find another talent from there, and we just hire from there. So that's some good resources that are starting to improve. Talent is there. It's just whether you're able to convince the person to join your team.
I think, as Ray mentioned, money is not lacking in Hong Kong per se. But before we went, we didn't really know how to. I think we knew how to pitch sort of, but we weren't very good at knowing what the fundraising scene was like. There's so many people who come up to you and say that, oh, I'm an angel investor, oh, I invest, and then you don't know anything, and they don't know anything. They're not very savvy, and so you don't even know like what valuation. You basically know nothing, and we almost got scammed like twice. Yeah, those are horror stories we can share later. But I think that coming from 500 and then going back, I think because there is a lot of money in Hong Kong, that if you know how to have proper people to reach out to, just being smart about fundraising, I think that actually helped a lot, because we were able to fundraise partly in Hong Kong and Southeast Asia, and so I think that part was I think the connection. And Sam, you actually hired me into my first job.
Yeah. I remember you. It's a lot of Goldman Sachs.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I would like to actually get back into the acceleration process. You know how you mentioned that it's like a buffet, like there's so many resources available. How did you actually, put the framework together to really push your startup? Like, instead of like those guys fooling around, how do you actually put some structure into place to make sure that, hey, you are doing something useful on a daily basis, growing your startup?
I think the biggest help that we got is from our mentor. His name is called Manish. He's an Indian guy. Yeah, have to be less racist. And then he worked for Google, and then he has his own startup. He's one of the mentors at 500 Sub at that time. And then basically, he's pain in the ass in the sense that, for example, when we were in Hong Kong, we always talk about some big ideas. Hey, we can do that on iGet, we should support the poor because we have quite many users. And then he always said, where's the data? And then we always say that, hey, they said that this is a good thing. And then he asked, who's they? So he's like keep challenging you on your own assumption, so that you will keep thinking about it, how you should really shape your product, whether you should run some A/B testing, that kind of stuff. Right now, all people talk about A/B testing or how to optimize your product. But I think at that time, most people, they talk about it, but they don't do it, right? And then, so those are the things that we learned a lot from that mentor. And then, and also other, you should get familiar with the batchmates that are kind of like you, in the sense that they are very hardworking, or they work on similar space that you do, and then you know that you can through them to get other helps if further away, yeah. And then that's kind of strategic, but somehow it's also helpful, yeah. And some guys usually they talk a lot, and those guys you don't really have to talk to them. And then they will come to you and then just and then they just ignore you. They think that you are Chinese, that's why your English sucks, so that they don't talk to you that much. I think somehow that's a good shield.
This is so great because I know exactly who he's fucking talking about.
So it kind of shields you from all those distractions, because people always say that in Silicon Valley the biggest problem is the noise, right? And then because we are so hardworking right now and also at that time, then we get the best thing from the accelerator instead of just get distracted. Yeah. No, those guys they will come to talk to you anyway, because I think especially when we tell them we run a website that got 10 million users. Then suddenly you become the hot girls in the room. So I think it's very normal, right? But I think that's a good thing that we know who are the guys that they will help you regardless of whether your product is good or not. Yeah.
So it's easier for us because the three of us had very defined roles on what we were supposed to do. Ray, the CEO, is mostly focused on fundraising. So he's the one that, well, somehow. But it's basically he talks to people. So if everyone wants to talk to Shopline, basically he's the main person, like filtering every single person. Fiona is mainly in charge of customer acquisition and marketing, and I'm mostly focused on product development. And so that was easier for us to execute the things while we're there. That's why we're like always staying there until like 12 a.m. and stuff. But Fiona had to do customer service until 3 a.m. Because of the time zone difference. And I was like, come on, hurry up, Fiona, let's go home. And she's still in the office. But it was a real good experience. Another thing I have to clarify, you guys never said that you guys can help in development, but there's actually people in there that actually help me in technical development. For example, Parker, because like they do provide like best practices on how to make development do better, and we have like CTO meetings every single week to talk to other batchmates or like other company CTOs to do our sharing on how we're gonna do our development. So that helped a lot with the sharings.
And I think another good thing about how you can get the most from the accelerator is you should join the events they organize or the workshop they organize. For example, when you are at the batch, we have some design UX workshop. We have some so-called growth hacking, whatever that is, workshop. And then they also help you to talk about how to really talk to users, the user story. Don't just think about, hey, I think this is great. You should go down and then talk to the users, or at least talk to your batchmate to see whether they will use your product. And then I think those are the things that you have to participate in, instead of just keep working on your own stuff. Because if you just work on your own stuff, you can work in Hong Kong. But when you are in the accelerator, you should get as much as possible from the workshop that they have. I think most people, they think the greatest experience is when 500 Startups organize some trip to LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter office, but it's useless.
They don't have it anymore.
Right now, I see. Yeah, and then at most you get a check-in on Facebook, and then you write on the real Facebook wall, that kind of bullshit. Yeah, but somehow I think the best thing is you talk to those guys that you don't think they are investors, but they are more like very execution level guys. For example, like they are product manager at Google. Then they can talk more about how they really execute things. Because for example, if you read articles by Larry Page or Sergey, they talk about some very high level stuff that you never do it, right? And then, but if it is some product managers, and they can talk about some really crappy or really how they work and how they run the team, how they can motivate the team when there is a good division of labor, that kind of stuff. I think those mentors, maybe they cannot invest, or maybe they are more hesitate to invest, but they really help you on your product or on your development. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to open up to the floor now. We're not going to use the pigeonhole. So if there are any questions? Okay, Mike?
Yeah, I have a question for Ray. You said that because life in Hong Kong is so easy and comfortable that...
I never said it's easy.
Okay.
It's very tough.
Convenient, maybe.
Yeah, convenient.
People say it's convenient and that's why there's not a lot of innovation. But if you look at companies like Uber, Snapchat, even Facebook, these came out of upper middle class to rich kids. So can we say that in Hong Kong you can't have innovation just because you're not struggling with big problems?
I can't say on behalf of the so-called Hong Kong startup ecosystem, but when you look at the product of Snapchat or look at the product of Uber, I think the background of the founders is very different, right? Snapchat, college, not kid, but college students, and then they work on products that really targeting their own peers, right? For Uber, it's kind of like very revolutionary in the sense of the travel business, the taxi business. Yeah, I think, but in Hong Kong, the business on one hand is easy, and it's relatively easy to make money. For example, if you are the best students, they work at iBank, and then they got 40K Hong Kong $1,000 when they just graduate. But for a start, maybe you can pay them 10K a month. Then those bright kids, they just work for the big companies. And then when they keep working hard, assuming they work hard, then they can just keep getting promoted. Then the opportunity cost for them to do startup is very high. Yeah, but for in the US, there are tons of guys that are from good schools, but even they work for Wall Street, they will get fired, right? But in Hong Kong, relatively speaking, the cost of employees even in iBank is lower. That's why it's less likely that they will get fired. Yeah, those are the problem for the bright engineers or the really good business people. And then for school kids, because usually the smartest kids, they just work really hard and they have good grades at school, and at most they join some debating team or some society in college, right? But they don't really have any experience. And then when they were kids, their parents will ask them to learn some musical instrument instead of play with your computer. For them, computer means PS4 or not PS4, just any game console. They just think that it's like a game. So those are the things that you don't really have any live experience to really solve a problem. Even like Facebook, if there is a kid like Mark Zuckerberg in college in Hong Kong, probably he will just at most he run the computer society at Hong Kong View. Yeah, but he will not start a Facebook because it's less social than most people. Yeah, so I think it's because of the education, the culture. That's the challenge. Yeah.
I already have my question up there actually.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
need a tech co-founder to be on the accelerator?
Yeah, so do you guys need a tech co-founder, maybe Rui or Dave?
90% of the time, yes. So probably more like 99%. We've taken it very, very occasionally, usually only when the business already has traction.
When we were at Financial Shops, they always talk about the component is hacker and then hustler and then designer. The so-called, I forgot the name, the trio or something like that. Yeah, I think for our team it's the same. It's easy. I think after all you work on a tech product, if you don't have a tech co-founder, how can you make sure that you can make it work? Yeah. So this is kind of basic. Yeah.
I'm with Jobdo, a last-minute mobile booking platform for casual workers, and we're looking for good examples to acquire users very quickly. Have you seen anything that quite memorable and effective, either in Asia space or internationally?
I won't tell you if I know. No, I think the thing is, acquiring user is not necessarily quick. Yeah, because getting a user to use your product, to try a product, is a really tough task. Yeah, because I have so many other alternatives. Why do I have to use your service? Yeah, and then right now people are obsessed with the term growth hacking. But the thing is, it's nothing new. It's nothing new. And then when people talk about, hey, how they can do use Facebook to run social media so that they can make a good promotion about their product, it's bullshit. Yeah, we have more Facebook fans and Instagram followers than most companies in Hong Kong. And then we only have one guy that runs the social media account, and then basically just we post the things that we have online there. Yeah. So the thing is, it's kind of overrated if you think about how to do growth hacking or that kind of stuff. I think the key is you talk to your target users and they understand what is their pain point. Then it's very likely that they can introduce you to other potential users. I think that's the basic core. That is the core about so-called growth hacking, or a better term, customer acquisition. Yeah. For example, like in our case, most of our users, they use Facebook, they use other messaging app. Then we just ask them, hey, what are the cool new apps that you are using that we should have add a share button on that? Then maybe they will tell me, they will tell us about, hey, maybe you should integrate WhatsApp in your mobile app, something like that. Instead of just thinking about some so creative, two creative ideas that you think it works, but probably it doesn't work. And our approach is, if you can try it at a very low cost, then you try it. If you have to use a month to build it out and then you try it at a very expensive level, then you shouldn't do it. Yeah.
I think it really depends on the stage of your business. Ray is really right. You have to go to where your users are. So at the very early stage, you don't have a lot of money and you don't, maybe not even product market fit yet. So you're trying to figure out where you should acquire customers. For example, in your case, going where your users are is a good strategy. And later on, you're trying to diversify your distribution channels, and you might have to do paid advertising, a lot of different things. But I think in the very early stage, talking to your users is important. You also should do a lot of experiments. So for us, we knew that a lot of people, they sell things with their Facebook pages and Instagram accounts. So I went very early on. Tony built a really simple tool in like 2 days. I don't know. To convert your Instagram feed into a Shopline, your own store. So we did a very simple thing like that. And then I just used my own account and spammed like so many users until Instagram blocked me. But that's actually the story how we got our first initial set of customers. And then you have some users using your product basically for free. And then you learn from them, and then you just iterate on and on. So there's no one perfect way of acquiring customers. You just have to try a lot of different ways and figure out how to go from there.
And I think a good lesson that we learned at 500 Subs is, and also from other friends, basically you should, when you try to acquire users at early stage, probably you should do things that doesn't scale. Yeah, for example, I know a company, I think it's a pharmacy company, it's called Kapmuch. Yeah, I'm not sure. How much, yeah. Basically, what they do is you have a business card, you take a picture of it, and then they will help you automatically scan that photo and then fill in your address book. And then I thought, hey, this is so cool. And then the founder told me that what they did is they asked some guys to fill in the information when you look at the photos. Yeah. What?
It was not OCR,
exactly.
it was OCD.
Yeah. It's more like when you do it and then you know that this works, and you build some tools or you use some program to automatically do that. Yeah, and I think that's a better way to do things. I think most people they jump at least 1 to 2 steps to think about how they can do something that is repeatable and can do it at a low cost or very quickly. Usually it doesn't happen. If it happens, then most people will do that. Yeah.
I think we'll take one more question. Yeah. Yeah, over there.
Just a comment about iBank sort of disappearing, so the next generation, people graduating from Hong Kong universities are going to find jobs and even in investment banking. The other thing is that even if you do find a job and you work in an investment bank, after a certain period of time, you will just go insane, and then you will want to start your own company.
You have no question, right? Yeah, we have one more question.
I'm curious, guys. Do you see a benefit of being from Hong Kong, like compared to other global teams? Do you see an advantage of that somehow, of this ecosystem, given your background?
I think one benefit is that because we know that Hong Kong is a pretty small place, and what works in Hong Kong doesn't mean that it works everywhere else. The benefit is that it helps us look wider than Hong Kong. So we are not just a Hong Kong startup. We look into other markets. We have Taiwan. We are looking to expand to Southeast Asia this year. So that helps us, I think, with the perspective being from Hong Kong.
I think generally speaking, generalization is bullshit. So I think we are from Hong Kong, they are from Hong Kong, but probably we are very different. Yeah. So I think, but in general, Hong Kong people. In general, Hong Kong people are more hardworking. And, no, it's kind of true. Yeah, and then that's why in not true. Not true. Comparatively speaking, standard deviation. I think hardworking people are more in Hong Kong, and then that's why the kids who get the best grade at maths, they are always Asian, right? That's something I learned from America. And then they're quite open-minded.
Always invest in racist founders.
They're quite open-minded. For example, if you are from Taiwan, they will think that it's good enough to capture the local market. In Hong Kong, people have the assumption that Hong Kong market is so small. I don't agree with that. So that they have to go outside. So they tend to be more outgoing. Yeah, and another thing is the English may be not good enough, but still better than Japanese, and a lot of other countries. So I think also generally speaking. So I think English speaking and then outgoing, and then you don't mind working with different guys, and I think those are the things that is relatively the advantage of Hong Kong people.
I love that Ray is giving people shit about bad English.
All right, so I think.
For a girl working with those guys, how does it feel? Really?
As a girl, how does it feel working with guys? My amazing team. Well, the official answer is that 500 is very diverse and supportive of female founders. It's true, actually. So it's actually okay. So the honest answer is that sometimes working with engineers like to make very sexist jokes, and it's actually just part of the way they de-stress, and do not take it personally. Just counterpart back to their jokes, and everyone is just happy, right? Right? Are you? But to be honest, I don't think the female-male thing. To me, it doesn't really make a difference. It's just
it's fine.
people.
I was just having a general question. You don't need to answer it.
It's just funny because like people keep asking us how the hell she was able to live in the house with 4 guys, and but she had her own room, so it was fine.
Okay. Well, yeah, let's have a round of applause then for our panel.